So let me introduce you to our fabulous moderator. Please join me in welcoming one of the most influential women in the Bay Area business 2019, okay? Named by the San Francisco Business Times, Lily Gangas. She's the Chief Technology Community Officer at the Kapur Center. Lily, por favor. Good morning, are you all ready? Can I hear you? We're here to talk about getting a seat at the table, creating our table, but most importantly, breaking through the glass ceiling. Who's ready to break through the glass ceiling? All right, I want to see fists in the air. Fists. Yes, there we go. Awesome, well, welcome. Please give a round of applause for our wonderful panelists as they come right in. Give it up. Excellent. Well, today's session is focused on making sure that you all leave today with having exactly great tactics of how to get this into the table, how to create it. But I want to make sure that you can all hear me okay, because I hear a little of the noise in the background. In the back, you all hear me? Yes? All right, get out your notes, because this is going to be an amazing panel. So with that said, let's get started. Are you ladies ready? Awesome. So what do we start here? With Veronica, tell us, what does it mean to have a seat at the table? Why does this topic matter to you?
Well, thank you for having me first and foremost. My name is Veronica Fernandez. I work at Visa. I've been at Visa for about 12 years or so. And before that, I worked at US Bank in chilly Minneapolis, Minnesota. So a Latin negative 35 degrees is never a good thing. But I've always been kind of in the financial services industry. And I would say that for me, getting a seat at the table really just means having the confidence to say what's on your mind. And also, I think it's very important. Someone once said that if you don't have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. So, I think it's not only having a seat at the table that's important, but also creating that seat at the table, and I know we'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, for me, the reason it's important is people listen to you. You can affect change. And I think once you get that seat at the table, it's very important to bring others along with you.
Yes. Margarita.
So I'm Margarita. I currently work at Sana. And for me, what it means to get a seat at the table, there's two things. So being able to influence, and that is really important. Like the leadership team or key stakeholders of a project that we're working on. And the second one is like being recognized for the value that you and your team bring to the table. So those are like the two things that means for me to get a seat at the table.
Hi everyone, my name is Anne Diaz and I'm a product manager at Airbnb. And for me, getting a seat at the table really makes me think of a quote that I heard recently, which was, "Nothing would be the same." And I think about that a lot because every time I've been able to either create a new table, find an empty seat at a table, help make a table bigger, I have been able to change and impact decisions that have been made, products that have been built, and people who have been served as a result. And so I think that having a seat at the table is an imperative for every single one of us. We have a responsibility because of our backgrounds, who we are, the families we represent, and the people that we know we're going to be building for. We have an imperative to be sitting there.
So Anne, now that you shared that so gracefully and beautifully, tell us how we actually do it. Please tell us if you can share a specific example of how you actually got a seat at the table, whether it's bring your folding chair or not. Tell us all the advice that you have on that.
Yeah, so I had one example that I wanted to share of a time when I noticed that a seat was empty at a table. So early on in my career in tech, I actually started out at my first startup in a kind of sales role. And I was tasked with going to these nonprofit organizations. I worked at a startup called Causes. Some of you might remember this is Facebook Causes. It was one of the very first Facebook apps. It was super, super popular before any of us knew how to use the internet, basically. I was going to these organizations, and I found that nobody really wanted to, because what we had built didn't actually serve their needs. And so I spent about 6 months meeting with different groups and almost always coming up empty-handed. And I finally went to my boss and I said, look, I cannot do my job very well. And I think it's because we're not building a product that works very well. Have we ever thought about including these voices in the product development experience? And he said, oh, that's a really good idea. No, we haven't done that before. This was like early days. And I said to him, look, can I make this my job instead? I am not good at sales, but I think I could be really, really good at this, because I have already learned so many things about how we can make our product better just by listening. And he said, okay, I guess you can try. Why don't you take a week, figure it out, come back to me with a proposal, and we'll go from there. And that was really how I first got into user research. I was a researcher before I was a product manager. And in this role at Causes, I was able to not only learn about research and help to develop a stronger product, but I also built out our research team and managed data science and managed our community team. And that really put me on a path towards the role that I have today, because it gave me a front row seat at understanding how to build products.
Great, thank you. Veronica, share your experience. Tell us about a specific example.
Yes, I do have a very specific example. So at Visa, at the time when I ended up with my vice president job, there weren't a lot of vice presidents. Now there are a lot more. I was a senior director at the time, and my boss had left, and so the position had opened up. And I said to myself, I know I can do that job. And of course I called my boss at the time, and I said, I know I can do that job. I'm going to post for that job. And he said, well, you can post for that job, but you're probably not going to get it. And you know, he was a friend of mine at the time, so I think he was trying to be nice. But he said, you know, you're probably not going to get it because we're really looking for fresh, new talent. And I said, okay, well, thanks for letting me know, but I'm still going to post for that job. So, long story long, I ended up obviously getting the VP position. But I guess the moral of that story is, I think many of us in this room have gotten to where we all are from perseverance, right? And we've all had to work not only a little hard, but like extra hard. And we've all had situations where we've been told, no, you can't do that. And so what I would say to you is, like, you know, forget that. You can't listen to those demons. You can't listen to the external demons. You can't listen to the internal demons. If you have the confidence and you know that you can do something like that, and even if you know that you can only do 60% of that job, be rest assured that there are men in your department that will think that even though they can do 60%, they're going to sign up for the 100% of that job. So again, what I would say is, we all have our demons. We all have been told no, but you got to go for it, because at the end of the day, all you will be left with is regret. You won't lose absolutely anything by putting your name forward and trying to do something.
Excellent, thank you. Yes, give it up. You gotta stop asking why and just start asking why not? Why not us, right? And then sometimes we're gonna be in those situations where we're gonna have to be the ones that are gonna have to create our own tables. So Margarita, can you share an example in your journey of when you actually...
In my journey, I actually have stacked different tables, different shapes, but what I have seen that is a common pattern through those 8 years working in Silicon Valley that I had to create my own tables. And the reason why is because of the nature of my work. So I focus on international expansion and international marketing. And when I join companies, this is pretty new. So basically, there's a lot of internal education and kind of like opening your space of why we need allocation of resources, why do we need to keep budget. So I think that one specific example is currently at Asana. When I joined, I was the first international marketing management hire. There was a lot of appetite to do things internationally, but I had to kind of like provide all the information about the impact and like the differences about regionalization, localization, global versus regional challenges and opportunities. And I think that for me, what has specifically worked is that I understood the priorities of the leadership team, and I tied that up of the company as well, and I tied that up in international. The second one is that I had clarity on who were the key stakeholders and also the decision makers, and build a plan to build that credibility, build that trust with them, get alignment. International is a lot about cross-functional, working with cross-functional teams. And the third one, and the one that I think that is really important, is like finding an executive sponsor, where you create your own table. You need someone, not only your manager. I know staff, and I think that at Asana I was really lucky because we have 10 objectives, and international is one of them. But having that, our head of sales is actually the sponsor of international. So having that executive sponsor is really important. And I'm super excited because fast forward 2 years after doing all those 3 things, we just created a function for regional marketing who reports to the CMO. And our team grew from 1 person to 8. So I'm super excited because that's like a good example of how I had to create my own business. And the outcome is great because it created the function, and now we have a team that supports that function.
Yes, give it up to Margarita. Yes. And share your experience as well that you've had in creating your own tables. What was that journey like?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I have been working on a lot is self-advocacy, and I think that's been brought up a number of times already, that it's so important to advocate for your own seat at the table. And I have always had a really hard time with that. But I've never had a hard time advocating for others. I don't know how many people feel the same way, but the shift that really helped me to get better at advocating for myself was thinking about every time I advocate for my own position at a table, I can think about when I've been a product manager, who are the customers who get to be at the table along with me because I'm representing their insights or their perspectives. I also think about when I've been a manager of the team that I'm representing, and when I'm at the table, their work is at the table too. And then I think a lot about my family. I have a daughter, my husband, but also I financially support my parents and my in-laws and my brother and sister-in-law as well. How many folks here support your family financially in some way through the work that you do in tech? Right. Yes, we should applaud that. That is huge. I think this is a huge contribution that particularly Latinas in tech are making that we don't acknowledge and talk about enough. And so when we're at the table, we have this opportunity to support our own communities and our families in a much bigger way than I think we give ourselves credit for. So just keeping those people in mind and thinking, when I advocate for myself, I'm advocating for all of those people behind me, has made making a seat at the table a lot easier for me.
Let me ask the audience here, how do you feel that you're confident to advocate for yourself? Raise your hand if you had to go into these situations and stand up for yourself. How are you going to feel confident after this panel? Elbow hands! Yes! I think that's such an important discussion to be had, especially as Latina culturally. A lot of the times we struggle, many of us have a challenge of being able to really toot our own horn, right? For me personally, getting past when I first started my career in the promotions, the guys next to me, who I was probably doing twice the word, he got a promotion. I started asking, what's happening? why did I get a promotion? Why did I get passed up? I think that's when the self-advocacy part really, really kicked in. So I want to make sure that you leave with that confidence and ask yourself, like, am I advocating for myself? How many of you here have are feeling stuck right now in the current position that you're in? Okay. So one of the things that we wanted to actually discuss is how do we get ourselves unstuck? How do we show our leadership and our management that we are ready for that position? How do we get started? How do we have that difficult dialogue? Maybe sometimes it's much more the mindset. So maybe Veronica, if you can share an experience of when you had to show up and say, you know what, I'm ready, it's my time.
Yeah, I think my advice there would be, if you don't, because here's the reality. I think we all have self-doubt. It doesn't matter if you're 5 years in your career or if you're 30 years in your career. Like, we all will have moments of self-doubt. And many of us may not feel comfortable advocating for ourselves, right? Although I would argue that it's important to do that. I do think I've seen that people that feel confident to go out and network and really get their face in front of the right people, right? So an example might be, you may be sitting in your vending area and the CFO walks up to you to get a coffee, right? You may think, oh, I'm not going to say hello or introduce myself. Well, that's a perfect opportunity to say hello and say, hi, my name's Veronica, and here's what I do. Because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to. And he's going to probably remember that exchange at some point. If you don't feel comfortable advocating for yourself, there's a difference between mentorship and an advocate, right? So you may have a mentor that can kind of walk you through certain situations where you can bounce off things. But I think the thing that I've seen in my career is that if you get an advocate, if you work with someone for a long enough time, it doesn't even have to be in your division. You work with someone long enough that happens to their executives. And if that person says, hey, Lily does a great job, and here's why, other people are going to want to talk to you and potentially come onto your team. So that's what I'd say.
Great, thank you. And what about you? If you can share an experience when you had to push through. What are some of the takeaways that a lot of the folks here can really apply once they leave this room?
Yeah, there's a story that comes to mind for me. A couple of years ago, I had been promoted into a leadership position. I was in research and Airbnb. And I was really excited to be there. This team helps us shape the strategy and the vision for a group of about 150 product folks. And a couple months into this new position, I remember walking by a glass conference room, and I looked in and I saw all the members of the leadership team meeting with our CTO. And I started to panic. I thought, oh my God, I had no idea that this meeting was happening. I've been late to almost everything. So I started to really worry, and I looked at my calendar and I didn't see a meeting. And I thought, what's going on? This is the entire team except for me. And when people started coming out of that room a little bit later, I asked about it. And I was told, oh, why am I not on it? And some of my peers said, well, the CTO set it up. We haven't had a researcher before, so it's really this meeting, we're not comfortable adding you. And I first felt really upset. I felt like I was being excluded, and of course my mind goes to all these different reasons of why I'm not there. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to reach out to the CTO, set up a meeting with him, and introduce myself. I talked to him about, here's what research can do. You know, I understand someone in my discipline this team before, so I want to educate you and bring you up to speed and let you know the value that I can provide. So we had a meeting. We talked for about half an hour. I prepared, and I was so nervous going into it. And it went great. It was actually really easy. At the end, he said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I should have been including you all along. And so that was a situation where I had first I recognized a problem, I looked to peers to try and help me, and I realized I had to advocate for myself, advocate for discipline, and make the opportunity.
Yes, yes, give it up. Yes, specifically for Margarita, many people specifically here want to have a seat at the table, are creating their own table, influencing business decisions at different levels and globally. Could you share your best advice on how to approach that?
Being an executive is, I hope you embrace your background, embrace your experience. That's really unique and will bring a different point of view at the table. And I think that early in my career, I struggled with that. I was like always sells out in myself, like a young marketer, like surrounded by people that doesn't have an accent. You know, I'm always put back there. We always say, actually, your accent make you more smarter because it's telling you you're speaking like two languages, so you're smarter than others. But yeah, being confident is super important. Be authentic. Don't lose your authenticity. You know, I also have learned that in my career. The second one is do your job, like do your core job. Like the results will like speak by themselves. And that's really important. If you're performing, you're confident. And it goes to the third point, which is like you know the priorities of your manager. And have that difficult conversation. And maybe at that time they won't have that seat at the table, but because you're doing those three things, it will happen and you will plant that seed on your manager's mind to get that seat at the table in the future. And I think that from my experiences, like sometimes even if you don't have that seat at the table, it doesn't mean that your voice cannot be heard. And that's something really important. I feel that we always aim to get the seat at the table where the decision making is happening, but actually there are other ways to get there, you know, and I have seen that through my career, and I feel like don't get discouraged if you're being confident and authentic, you're like having great performance result, like you're kind of like managing the expectations of your manager, if you don't get it immediately, it will happen, you know. Again, result will speak for yourself, just kind of like continuing like working on that and maybe take sometimes some more work to prove yourself. Just to kind of like finish on that, I want to say like in my career also what I have seen really successful to get that seat at the table is the relationship that you have with your manager and also getting an advocate. So getting that sponsor, not only your manager but someone that can really push you to the next level that might not be directly related to a manager relationship. And do what Veronica said, you know, like you see them on the cafeteria, you have a team meeting, and the CMO is there, like that's a great opportunity to go and see, hey, what is on top of their mind, you know, and you can work on things that are related to those leadership priorities. So that's my advice.
Great, thank you. And Veronica, yes. Veronica, given your role at Visa and the fact that it's a global product and changing, what's your perspective, not just as a Latina, but just as a leader in general, of how to approach some of these changes?
Yeah, I think what's important whenever you're dealing with whether it's a global issue or diversity and inclusion, I think it's all about communication. I think one of the probably most important things that we can all hone in terms of our craft is how do we communicate with others, and especially when your network or your advocate, it's making sure that when you have, you know, as Anne was saying, when you have those 30 minutes with that CTO, or when you're bumping into your CEO in the elevator, that you have a very kind of crisp message and that you're communicating, you know, your whatever it is, right? The top 3 things that are on your mind. And you always have to think about like, what value can I provide to that person, right? Because even though it doesn't mean they have all the answers, and they want to surround themselves. I know myself as a manager, I want to surround myself with people that fill my gaps, right? So I may not have like great financial acumen, so I want somebody on my team that has that. And I think that is just as important when you're networking or when you're talking to some of your senior leaders or really anyone in your organization. The other thing I'll say is that a lot of times people don't take the time to understand who they're going to talk to or who they're going to. So as an example, our EVP of North America is kind of an ex-consultant, very cut and dry. Phone call, you may not be on video, you may not be watching that person. And so he tends to like stop, pause. And I learned before I presented some big deals to him that when he stops to pause, he's thinking. So a lot of women, and especially Latinas, I think we have the urge to like fill that gap and start talking and like, oh, he doesn't understand what I'm saying, because that exchange could go. And I think, again,
You know, you can't be what you can't see, right? Well, you've got examples of women who had to be the first ones and had to question time for these amazing leaders. So anybody, we're gonna wrap up in a little bit. Introduce yourself. And
Hi, I'm Laura from Asana. Ooh, margarita. Thank you guys for talking about getting a seat at the table. Obviously, this topic is really related to advocacy. And we know from research that Latinas typically make 54 cents on the dollar to their white male counterparts or even, female counterparts. So I love your advice for how do you advocate when it comes to negotiating your worth or why you should get that raise or why you should get that promotion. Like, what is your tip to really coming across crisp in your message and making a case for yourself?
I think again, it gets to what you've done, and do it in a way that makes sense for that person. So if that's a market of KPIs, things like that, if it's a financial person, just kind of craft the message. And then, again, it's a lot of what we've just said, which is like find an advocate, understand like where you want to get that promotion, and is it within your own team? Is it outside of your team? What does that team look like? Do you have a friend on that team? Any kind of, you're almost like a detective, right? Like any kind of inside information you can potentially get. And this is why I love to network, because it's like I use anyone that I possibly know to either give me information or help me kind of get that seat at the table.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is tying that to the priorities of the company, and also what have worked for me in the past is what are like the priorities and problems for my manager? Like what is like a project that no one want to work on, and I can take it and take that headache from my manager and like create a solution for that. That have worked really well for me as well.
Yeah, I think the last thing that I'll add is to just ask. Like sometimes, I think early on in my oh, this is a meritocracy. I'm going to do great work and people will notice. You can do great work and stay exactly where you are for a very, very long time. Right? So you have to ask. Ask for it.
Ask, and ask also your peers. That's actually what you mentioned earlier, Veronica, making sure you look at the data and investigate a little bit, because sometimes what we don't realize is that those pay gaps actually start when we first started our career. No matter how many promotions you get, if that pay difference was higher than you anticipated, no matter those jumps just keep getting, you're always just gonna keep getting broader and broader. And I learned that my lesson personally as well when that first promotion. Believe me, I'm still salty about it, as you can tell. I still follow it through the years. But that's when I realized, I was asking the peers, that guy started with a higher salary even though we came from the same school, and I had no idea. But his dad helped him negotiate, better starting salary. So I miss a promotion, he gets a promotion, and that's how the wage continues to grow. And when you get to senior levels, it continues even more. So definitely ask, advocate. And I think that's the end for us. All right. Well, thank you so much. Hope y'all had a great time. Advocate and enjoy the rest of your day.